Okay, hi friends. This is Group 6. We are here to present management and development of human resources in education system. Um, my group mates are Mr. Michael De Vera and myself, Miss Ivorine Diamante and Miss Veronica Galang. I will start the reporting first with the topic of system approach in human resources management. Um, this topic is very near to my heart because before I started my teaching career, I worked in the human resources department after graduation, and as a background, the term human resource management emerged in the late 1980s as an alternative to personnel management. It was intended to convey a broader strategic and more dynamic interpretation of the role of effective staff management in organizations. Personal management was typically remit of a separate, expensive, and highly bureaucratic unit within the organization by Mercer Broker Bird 2010. HRM, or Human Resources Management, was initially thought to be just a fad, but it caught on hundreds of books and articles, and a plethora of articles have been written on claims of HRM's impact. Before 1980, personnel managers were concerned mainly with hiring, firing, welfare, and payment of benefits to the employees. In the 1930s, the trade union legislation started to emerge and employees joined together to negotiate with employers. In the 1960s, personnel function was portrayed to have a purely advisory role in the organization. In the 1980s, the worker is viewed as a resource to be invested, managed, and developed for organizational growth. And then in the 1990s, it became accepted that the employee's knowledge and skill are the real basis for organizational productivity. Human resource development strategies are now centered around the expansion of the workers' training, skills, and knowledge. In the 20th century, the human resource management in education emerged. So that's where we are now. The term human resource in the educational organization refers to all human beings working in that organization, teachers, students, administration, and all other staff members working in that organization. And it's usually distinguished from financial, material, and other types of resources required by the organization to achieve its goals. It has been acknowledged that the human resource is the most important of all the resources needed by the organization to achieve its objectives. The main goals of human resource management in education are basically the same in all school systems: to hire, retain, develop, motivate, and compensate personnel for their services to the organization. Human resources is now regarded as an important resource in all organizations. So it's a human resource planning is a process of determining the staffing requirements necessary to carry out on an organization strategy. It anticipates future staffing needs and ensure that the correct number and type of employees are available when needed. So the indicators of the organization's effectiveness is productivity, efficiency, high performance, profits, absence of employee absenteeism, lateness or turnover, and job satisfaction. The problems of organizations is that managing the factors that influence human resources performance so they can attain the organization's goals. And these are the employee skills and knowledge, motivation, and work environment. So this is the end of my topic. I'm going to hand it over to the next one, Mr. Michael De Vera, who's going to talk about.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Michael De Vera. Thank you, Miss Diamante, and thank you, Miss Galang, for this great opportunity to be in your group. Miss Galang will go into share screen, the report, because this computer is having some glitches right now. Okay, the organizational relationships. Okay, let me start with this. Employee engagement is the lifeblood of successful organizational relationships. Research shows that employees with the highest level of commitment perform 20% better than those with an average level of commitment. Employees with the highest levels of commitment are also 87% less likely to leave the organization. The key word here is commitment. We have to establish commitment in the educational system if we are the leaders in the school. Happy and productive employees also boost satisfaction, even customer satisfaction and sales, not just in commercial, but also in the education system. The better the workers' organizational relationships, the higher their engagement. That's why I remember my principal was saying, you know what, if you're coming on time every day, if you're here every day, it's showing already that you are being productive. It's showing that there's a good relationship here in the school community. This is how we build high quality organizational relationships among workers. The first bullet is candor. Candor is critical to having effective conversations and building organizational relationships. Candor creates transparency by helping workers understand organizational strategies. Candor about career goals and the ways workers can attain, then give workers the feeling that they have some control over their careers and have advocates, if you could please, yeah, commitment to their growth. Collaboration. If you could please scroll it down again, Miss Galang. Collaboration. The first C was the candor. The second is the collaboration. We know there's norms of collaboration. Without this, even meetings, even everything will fall in the education system. There should be something about open to discussion, not being judgmental, pausing, paraphrasing. This is something that educational leaders should really build in the school community so there would be no fight. There would be harmony. If you could please scroll it down, Miss Galang, thank you. The third bullet after the collaboration would be, if you could please scroll it down again. More pa po.
Right.
Trust.
Yes.
Trust. Let me read this in context. Trust is critical to creating a healthy environment where relationship building can take place. Like candor and collaboration, it spurs effective conversation. The best way to create trust is through encouraging input. Any kind of relationship, even in a family, even in the education system, we have to trust our employees, we have to trust our teachers, and the teachers should trust the administrators to have a better community. Or else, that it's always the first element I think of in any kind of relationship. According to a recent survey, 80% of respondents that reported healthy worker or supervisor relationships said the most important thing a manager can do is to create positive relationships and to solicit and value worker input. If we become leaders, we need to know how to trust, so our people will also trust us. It's like mutualism, you be good, you earn good. And there is another attachment, Miss Galang, the education management. If you could please share that.
Okay. So I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, please stop the share and then please go to
Here
the,
now.
yeah,
Is it
attracting. Would that be it? Leaders can fail in maintaining an effective workforce. So the highlighted words here would be attracting, how we attract and how we manage. Example is maintaining an effective workforce. Leaders in the field of education should realize creating a workplace that attracts, number one, retains, number two, and retains and engagement, number three. It's like there are three basic elements according to the this review of related literature. The more skill and talent, employers should not only be concerned about retaining the employees they have, but also focus on creating and influencing them grow. So when we become future principals, coordinators, assistant principals, we should always take care of our people, and our people will take care of us because the people works for us too. We can always put in mind that number one, talent development engages and motivates people. That's why here also in the Philippines, We send our people to professional developments. Number two, you'll keep top talent for longer. We don't want just to hire somebody who will just be there for a short period of time. It would mean something about mismanagement if employees always leave and go. Number three, it helps you close skill gaps. We have to help our people to actually close the gaps, just like what we do with the students. And this would have a better community in the educational system. Number four, it creates career opportunities. I remember my assistant principal, APIS, was saying, you know what? Now you're a teacher, gain some experience, do some credentialing, and you could be like me. That's what she's saying. So it's something about encouragement. Administrators encouraging their people to grow. Bullet one, provide a positive working environment. Working environment. Senior leaders that take personal responsibility for retention in their organizations have lower turnover. That is very true. Can we go to the second bullet, Ms. Galang?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Recognize, yeah, please pause. Recognize, reinforce, and reward. Another three basic elements that should be complementary. We recognize the people, we reinforce what they do good, and we reward them. Sometimes we get stipend, sometimes we get bonus, which is good because it actually boosts the morale of any worker, commercial, in the school setting, or anywhere. And actually, it's not just the money, it's something about uh, for the people to know and then realize that I'm important. That's something which is very good and something that cannot be bought by money. Yeah, stipend, benefits are important factors, but of course, here it's also saying about intrinsic. It's not just about money, it's about taking care of your people, and your people will take care of you. Can you scroll it down, Miss Galang?
I will.
Yeah, thank you. Involve, yeah, that bullet. Involve and engage the workforce. People may show up for work, but are they engaged and productive? People are more committed when there is a process for them to contribute their ideas and suggestions. So it's not just thinking that when we become future administrators, we have the monopoly of knowledge. No, we have to trust our people. We have to talk to our people, and we have to actually get their opinions. So, yeah, it could help. It could help. And it's always collaboration. Can you go to the next bullet?
Sorry.
Okay, develop the potential of individuals. Many people rate education and training opportunities as just important as the money they make. In a study by Linkage Incorporated, more than 40% of the respondents said they would consider leaving their present please employer for another job with the same benefits if that job provided better career development and greater challenges. Yeah, we have to give career development just like in our school. I mean, the teachers assistants are not just being stopped for being a TA. Grow, study, take units to renew your contract because the hope is for them to become teachers someday. That ends the report, and let me pass it to Ms. Galang. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. I will just get my presentation there. Looking at that, let me just go grab it. I think I do have my presentation. So I'm looking at that again. Okay, online. Locating, where is it? Let me see that. Are you able to see my screen? Hi, are you able to see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay. So I am part of Group 6. So um, my team members already spoke, and we are still on Chapter 6. And I was assigned to discuss performance appraisal and career management. So, learning objectives, the key for us to understand the topic is to describe the purpose of performance appraisal in organization, in particular educational organization. We need to summarize the appraisal process in organization. We'll be identifying and describing the most common methods that managers use for performance appraisal. And a couple of some other key points that I want to stress on my report is discuss other general issues involving performance appraisal in the organization, describe the nature of careers and organization, discuss human resource management and career management, and lastly, identify and discuss basic career development issues and challenges. So to start with, let me define what is performance appraisal and management. Performance appraisal is duly defined as a specific and formal evaluation of an employee conducted to determine the degree to which the employee is performing his or her job effectively. While performance management is defined as a general set of activities carried out by the organization to change, improve employee performance. No, we have to know that why organizations conduct performance appraisal. Performance appraisal can help assess the quality of employee performance. It can improve job performance by directing behavior and help employee focus on performance. Second, monitoring behavior helps manager measure progress. Performance appraisal can also make correct employment decisions such as pay raise, training, promotion, and more, which has been discussed earlier by Ms. Ivorine. And it also ensures legal compliance and avoids sue based on perceived appraisal slight. It can also minimize job dissatisfaction and turnover. And it also let employee know that their work is being tracked accurately and fairly. So the standard for effective performance appraisal system are being divided into three categories. One is the quality of the rating form. Second is the accuracy of the rating and legal standards. So when we say the quality of the rating form, we're talking about three things here. First one is relevance, the degree to which the rating from includes necessary information, criterion deficiency, which is some omission of pertinent performance criteria, and third is criterion contamination, which is the inclusion of irrelevant information on the rating form. For some reason, it has always been a factor for us to know what are the parameters to be used when someone is being evaluated. As we know, in the education system, it has always been there is what we call CBA, the collective bargaining agreement between the teachers union and whatever district you have, and the teacher take part in knowing what are those parameters to be used for them when they are evaluated. Okay, so there are some factors that could also attributed to those quality of the evaluation. One is clear performance standards. That's what I said. Teachers has to know the different standard parameters that they are going to be evaluated, and this standard may lead to particularly in the set of teachers classroom management, some attributes that could be planning and preparation, professional development if teachers are participating in that, and it has always have to have a consensus between the raters and the ratings. So in that way, we can indicate the level of performance an employee is expected to achieve. It could also help direct employee behavior, and it even helps supervisors or your immediate ratee. In our case, it could be our administrator, which is being also could be designated ratee or designated evaluator, could be your assistant principal or something to the effect, and it provides more accurate ratings. Accuracy of the rating is the second factors to consider. Accurate ratings reflect the employee's actual job performance level. Inaccuracy is often attributed to the presence of rater's error. So the role of the rater, so whoever is being designated to do that, because sometimes administrator disseminate or I would say that they designate someone to take the role of, especially if you are in an organization where, uh, let's say, for example, it's a huge or a big groups of teachers. So they have this thing to do. They assigned a rater. So the rater role is traditionally and most typically the supervisor of the employee being appraised. The rater must consider the context in which performance occurs so that any existing condition can be taken into consideration. The role of the ratee as well is the one being rated should have a clear and unbiased view of his or her performance. So this is the important thing here that we need to look at, unbiased view. It is essential that both parties have all the information they can collect about the one who's being rated in their performance. This approach should allow the one being rated to be more receptive. So it is always, there's a need for us to do first planning before deciding for the day of the evaluation. And there could be informal and formal evaluation that will happen along the way as being, agreed upon by both parties. Okay, so some of the common raters error, one is leniency error. They can become lenient, right? So raters provide ratings that are unduly so high somehow, because I would say this is kind of like if there's some bias on the way, severity error rating are unduly low. So these are some factors that you were given so high, then you were given so low. And what are the causes of legacy and severity error? It could be political reason or the rater's lack of conscientiousness and personal bias. We see some problem here, especially if your raters are not even had an experience being in that field. For example, or I would say I was a science teacher, then my ratee is not a science teacher, that I will see something like raters lack of conscientiousness about it. So they don't really understand what the lingo or some subject matter in the sense. It has to be cleared that what you need to observe is only on the parameters being used and not beyond that, so that they will be an acceptable rate for you or evaluation is being accepted. Continuation of the errors to the central tendency errors. This means appraiser purposely avoid giving extreme rating and when such ratings are warranted. And the causes of this is administrative procedures. Second is endpoint of the rating scales are unrealistically defined. For the administrative procedures, I would say that before this long has been, we must always review what are the CBA, collective bargaining agreement that has been approved by if you have a union, right, and towards the administrator that they need that, because that will be our kind of like a guide, a checklist, a guidebook, or something to follow when we're actually doing this thing. Situation halo effect. One of these halo effects we call as an error. Appraiser's overall impression of an employee is based on particular characteristics and act as a barrier to accurate appraisals. It can even cause to big rating standards and failure to conscientiously complete the rating form. The rater's use of implicit personality theory is another error. Rater's estimation based on personal theory of how different type of people behave in certain situations. So using the theory organization, these are unable to identify employees' strengths and weaknesses. I would say that these are really important. So recency error is another one, which is a consequence of memory decay. Ratings are heavily influenced by recent events that are easily remembered. So we say that there's kind of like some bias about it, but I will say this should not be the case, right? If that recent event causes some disruption on the goals of what is being observed, then this one could be avoided. So rating that unduly reflects recent event can present a false picture of the individual job performance during the entire rating period. So this way, teachers and even administrator will find it that is supposed to be not credited or not included in the evaluation process. And it could be lead to like you can have some discrepancy if something happens like this. Okay. So the types of rating instruments we can use employee comparison system, and employee performance is evaluated relative to employee's performance. The use is ranking rather than rating. The strength of this rating is low cost and practical. It takes a little time and effort, but the weakness is that it fails to adequately direct employee behavior. So another type is what we call graphic rating scales. This is a 5 or 7 point rating accompanied by each grade. Points are defined by number of words that indicate the level of performance. The strength of this rating instrument is low cost again. It can be developed quickly, but the weakness of this is appearance of bias and lead to multiple rating errors. So there is what we call a process to do designing an appraisal system. Step one, gaining support for the system. So it makes the appraisal system meaningful. It encourages the manager or the administrator and the workers to participate in planning and development of the system to exchange support for it. Step two, choosing the appropriate rating instrument. Must consider the factors. Could have the practicality, cost, and the nature of job. So in this choosing the appropriate rating instrument, it depends upon what particular thing are you going to use. As far as I know, LAUSD is using the Danielson rating scale, where the teacher ranges from meet the standard to like do not meet the standard to exceed the standard, and they are the point system of like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Step three is choosing the rater. So it could be the supervisory rater. So rater could be your supervisor, immediate supervisor. It could be the administrator in charge of your department. So this service management falls to supervisors, giving them means to direct and monitor employee behavior. A P rating somehow supplemented supervisor rating. A P rating, I could say, these are commonly observed when we do professional development, and we tend to use our co-workers or co-teachers to observe one another for the purpose of seeing what works, what didn't work, like the strategies in the classroom. And this peer rating is not absolutely gonna affect your overall evaluation, because this is just merely used for a consensus about what is my individual performance. Self-rating may be used for employee development. So you can always use your own checklist to go and see what works and what didn't work. Because at the time when you're done teaching, you always reflect upon your teaching, and to that teaching, you will always know what particular thing. Because we accept the fact that we have different dynamics when it comes to classroom. It might work in my other class, but doesn't work in the other class. So the thing is, we also need to know, importantly, are the demands and needs of our students to suit what particular teaching strategy is the best. So 360 lacks accountability. This is when we say 360 degrees feedback. This is an approach to performance appraisal that involves gathering performance information from people on all sides of the manager or on all sides of your administration, above, besides, below, and so forth. And this approach is potentially helpful, especially when used for feedback purposes only. So 360 degrees feedback is only for feedback. So it's not supposed to be used as evaluating your thing. So this commonly will be used for self-reflection as well. Step four, determining the appropriate timing. So conducted annually, and frequent appraisal are time consuming, ensuring appraisal. That is why we must hold what we call a meeting first, so that that meeting will tend to know what particular calendar or events that you're going to be observed, what particular class and what time of the year, whether it be a fall or a spring semester, and what particular time was she going to be there. Because in the event that it didn't go through, there's always a second way to like reevaluate or replan, because we cannot see the some event that would stop you from being evaluated at that time. It might be like the availability of the raters. So step five, ensuring a fairness, appraisal fairness. So upper level management review helps to ensure fairness, and many help keep appraisers human. Appraisal appeal system allow employees to voice their concerns. Okay, so ranking methods versus rating methods. The simple ranking methods involves having the manager rank order from top to bottom or from best to worst each member of a particular work group or department. While the fair comparison methods of performance appraisal involves comparing each individual employee with every other individual employee one at a time. The forced distribution method involves grouping employees into predefined frequencies. Okay, so specific rating methods, these are the several examples of what raters or what are they going to use. So one is a graphic rating scale, consists of a statement or questions about some aspect of an individual job performance. Second, the critical incident method relies on instance of especially good or poor performance on the part of the employee. Bars is specifically defined as behavioral anchored rating scales. These are appraisal systems that represent a combination of the graphic rating scales and the critical incident method. Specific rating methods considered, there's another one they call BOSS, are developed from critical incident like bars, but it used substantially from more critical incidents to specifically define all the measures necessary for effective performance. A goal-based or management by objective system is basically largely on the extent to which individuals meet their performance, their personal performance. This one, MBO, I think this is one of the most recent use or duly used by teachers and administration. Okay, so rating errors consist of ratings, contrast error, distributional errors, halo errors, which I just discussed a while ago, and horn errors. And the nature of career, this is the second part of my report, the nature of career. When we say career, specifically, this is defined as the side of experiences and activities that people engage in related to their job and livelihood over the course of their working life. And they have four traditional stages: exploration, establishment, maintenance, and disengagement. So when we say exploration, it's kind of like involves identifying interests and opportunities. Establishment, it involves creating a meaningful and relevant role in the organization. Maintenance involves optimizing talents or, oh, sorry, this just come close to me. Involves optimizing talents or capabilities. And disengagement involves gradually beginning to pull away from work in the organization. Priorities change and work may become less important. As like we are going to, like right now, we are facing a lot of dilemma because of, some teachers are choosing to retire early, and that is what we call disengagement. The reason behind it, we don't know, but we will say that if priorities changes a lot for them, it might be, mental, their mental, thing. Some may have this mental illnesses or prevalent health issues that they cannot even go on and continue with the teaching. So this is what we call disengagement. Some issues facing older workers and decision to retire. So older workers eventually must confront the decision to retire. And they are more common. Individuals retire and take time on full-time work at other organizations. So or retire and take on part-time work or work as a consultant. I know some people that will just retire, but they will be along the substitute pool, which right now, which is very much appreciated. Individuals are likely to retire when they have the financial resources needed to maintain their pre-retirement lifestyle. I mean, like all of us are looking forward to that, but we will just need to really know that it will be the financial resources are well capable enough for us to go on to the retire. I hope all of us dream about that, right? So they may also retire when their health makes more burdensome. This is true. If you are really facing, like I go for my mental health, then why not? Okay. So human resource management and career management, most successful organizations and managers recognize that careers do not simply happen. And why is that? Because careers are managed and planned, and part of the responsibility for career planning resides with the organization. So I would say, in summary, that organization really is not just about them, it's not that about I or me, it is about we. Just like Michael is saying, collaboration. So again, it's not just about them, it's not just about I, it is about we as a group. That's identifying that all are working hard for this one. That's why unity is important. And without that, it's not going to be, if you love your job, you must be also know that you have been taken care of. You should be taken care of in any means, right? So I say that I would stop sharing now and this concludes my report on all the reports and the summary of everything. Stop sharing. So in the half of my group, Miss Ivorine and Mr. Michael, we say take charge and please enjoy watching and take learning from what we shared to you as we also take learning from what you shared to us. And with this, happy Thanksgiving and God bless us all. Thank you guys. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Bye.